Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to House of Footy. We are back again with another episode, continuing our coverage of the FIFA 2022 World Cup in Qatar. I'm Ray, your host for today, and I'm joined by Mac.
Good evening.
And Gio.
What is good?
And on today's podcast, we will be previewing the quarterfinal matchups for the World Cup. Before we get into it, don't forget to follow us on our social medias, both on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle is at @house_of_footy. Also, don't forget to rate, review, and get in touch with us. We love hearing from you guys, and we want you guys getting involved. Our email is houseoffooty@hotmail.com. Lastly, we are now uploading House of Footy YouTube videos, so please, if you can, like, comment, and of course, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our content. The link is in our bio on both Twitter and Instagram. All right, let's get straight into it. The first quarterfinal game is Croatia taking on Brazil. Croatia finished second in Group F behind Morocco, beating Japan in penalty kicks in the round of 16. Brazil finished first in Group G, beating South Korea and beat South Korea 4-1 in the round of 16. So I guess give us your predictions or how you think this game should flow.
I feel like it'll be heavily favored in Brazil's way. I think this would be a little bit unusual for Croatia because they normally have controlled the midfield going in game in, game out, especially against the teams they have played thus far. This might be the first time going in where, you know what, they're going to kind of concede possession for quite a bit of it. And that, I feel like, would be to their detriment because they're not a great counter-attacking team as they do not have a lot of pace up top. So how they've been successful is when they've been on the ball, kind of control the tempo and see if they can pick apart a fine pass. That will definitely, I feel like, be difficult in this matchup. As well as if for whatever reason they do control tempo, Brazil are just as adept at hitting them on the counter. So I'm very, very concerned for this Croatia team. I think even though, I don't know if this might be a hot take, but through all the quarterfinal matchups, I think this, for me, is a clear winner here. If I were to place any bet and you would ask me who's my guarantee to win out of all the four, I'm going for this one for Brazil. I think this matchup suits them perfectly.
Okay, Gio, same question.
I think this matchup in terms of Croatia, it's very unfortunate because I think they're going to be overwhelmed the entire game. Whether it be in the midfield, whether it be in the offense, they're going to struggle to get through this Brazilian defense. And I say struggle to get through the defense because they're going to struggle a lot in the midfield as well to even get to the defense. And I just don't think, the likes of Kramaric and Perisic are really going to cause too much trouble for this backline. Although this backline hasn't had much to deal with per se. I just think as a whole, Croatia's going to struggle to move forward offensively, and they're going to have a lot to deal with. They're going to spend a lot of this game defending that sort of unlocked, if you want to call it that, unlocked Brazilian offense.
Yeah, man. Honestly, with this Brazil team off that game, scoring 4 goals against South Korea, I feel like they are the young, hungry group with a couple of old heads that are guiding this group. But basically, you've got the likes of Richarlison with 3 goals so far. Vinicius just got his goal. Neymar will always be a threat. And even Rafinha, who played decently well on the right-hand side. And you have Paquetá also linking up. You have a lot of quality on the bench. So, yeah, Brazil should be the team that outchances Croatia. Whereas Croatia, they are the veterans, aging, but still have some reliable pieces. And it's really, going to be coming down to, are Croatia able to hold Brazil out? Because obviously Brazil will have most chances going forward, and we expect them, in terms of their attacking talent, to take control of the game in terms of chances. But is Croatia able to hold out and maybe pick times to go forward with selective players in attack, similar to what people are referring to in Japan, where they're not a team that counters with speed per se. They just have a specific type of counterattack where they're going to hit you with precision passing and all the right runs to sort of hurt Brazil, who, hey, they have let's be honest, the wide backs are not the greatest, and so maybe that might be a weakness to point out. But again, Richarlison 3 goals so far, Andre Kamrick 2 goals for Croatia, both leading goal scorers. Mac, is there a specific matchup or a lineup, maybe surprise that we could be in for? What do you think?
I don't know if this game is the one that will kind of draw the line for Brazil, but I think it might be interesting where if they're going to face a Croatia team that in the midfield traditionally does kind of boss the ball. If this game causes a concern where maybe they don't start finishes and move Neymar over onto the wing and kind of add an extra traditional midfielder into that three, because a midfield three of Brozovic, Kovacic, and Modric against just the two of Casemiro and Paqueta, that might be tough for them to be able to Brazil to kind of have control of the possession, to dictate tempo of the game. Even though, again, like I said, they are adept at hitting on the counter just as well. That's not how they want to play, even though they are very successful at it. So if they go into this game, let's say 60 minutes in, they haven't really kind of been dominant, haven't had a good lead thus far. Do they look at this game as, you know what, we need to kind of go into our final form here. We need to now really play tournament football and make sure that we can at least dictate the play that we want. And we're not losing as much because Neymar is so good still out on the wing, just as he is essentially. So that's more the battle. If Croatia are able to be dominant there, does that kind of put Brazil in a position where going to the rest of this tournament, they have to be looking at a little bit more conservative, because now they're going to start facing higher quality teams.
Yeah. Honestly, just looking at, I was on Twitter and I saw this post by Rodrigo. Gio, I'm not sure if you saw it. Rodrigo posted a photo of him and Modric saying we're meeting soon.
See you, Papa.
Yeah.
See you, Papa. Hey, Papa. It just feels like it's just a step too far for Croatia, Gio. Like you said earlier, with the likes of Denmark or I'm not sure what else team. I think maybe you said about the Welsh team. Their tournament is just their fairy tale run is just a little. This is just a step too far for them. Any chances? Any ways that they should approach the game to try to get a result against Brazil?
Take notes from Morocco. I mean, that's your best bet. I mean, that's probably your best bet to try to hit them on the counter, because Brazil know their offensive ability, and frustration will inevitably build if they don't score in, say, the first 30 minutes. Then they're going to start getting frustrated. Then they're going to start, playing that ISO ball that we so fond of seeing. But that's not how you win, especially tournament football. So if they can hold on and frustrate Brazil in that way, I think their best chance then comes from, again, the counterattack. And when Modric is at the top of his game, there is a possibility of him threading a great ball through and having that sort of opportunity there. But with that being said, throughout the tournament, Modric, I think, has played far too many minutes. I think his body is catching up to him. You can tell that, in the first maybe 65 to 75 minutes, he's still great. But anything beyond that mark, there's definitely been a decline in terms of, pass accuracy, and like just movement in general. You can tell his age is catching up with him. So, I mean, the longer the game drags on, I think it benefits Brazil. But again, the longer that the game drags on and it's scoreless, it definitely benefits Croatia.
Yeah, that's a great point. I don't think we've actually had to experience Brazil having to go. I don't think really they've. Well, I have it here. They've scored 7 goals, 2 against. Croatia have 5 goals for, 2 against. I don't think any team has been really able to, except for that last game against Cameroon, been keeping Brazil out too much so that they resort to 1v1s all across the pitch. So it'll be interesting to see if Croatia can do that and frustrate Brazil. But I just feel that at this time, Brazil going into this game, they just have too much, and Croatia just look battered, and going the full length against Japan might take an extra toll on them. But I guess, Mac, game result predictions before we move on from this game.
I think this is a 2-0 win for Brazil. I think if Brazil can get it on the score sheet in the first half, they'll get their second and kind of kill the game from there. That experience, especially in the back with players like Thiago Silva, Marquinhos, Casemiro, where they're going to, you know what, we don't need to chase this game as much because they're going to be the first game in the quarterfinals. So they're going to, you know what, let's just try to be able to get this win. We don't need to really about scoring as many goals. Of course, they'll still want to. I think some of their players may want to look at more flashier football at that moment, at that time, if they're in that position. But I think the coach will just come in and make these changes, get players to rest up because they know this isn't their real. The tournament doesn't really start until they win this game for them, where they're actually going to be in danger, in my opinion. So they might be a little bit more, as you kind of highlighted, focus more on tournament football going forward.
Okay, and Gio, same question.
Yeah, no, it's, to me, Max pretty spot on. I think Croatia's going to struggle a lot to score. But I think once Brazil do score, again, it does open up the game. So that being said, I do see just one more than Mac. I see a 3-0 win. We see some more dancing. And yeah, no, it's going to be a fun game. And should be, fun for Brazil at least. But Croatia, that run in 2018 was fun, but it's time for you to just sit back and enjoy the game from home.
Fair. Yeah, I guess I don't agree with you guys. Don't see really Croatia able to score. So Brazil to win to 0, likely a pretty good bet if you guys are betting. But anyways, we don't condone betting and gambling. So
no, sir, not here.
Let's move past that. Okay, so let's take a quick break here, guys, and then we'll be back with another quarterfinal game. So stay with us. Welcome back to House of Footy, guys. We are going to continue our quarterfinal previews with Netherlands versus Argentina. The Netherlands finished first in Group A and beat the US 3-1 in the round of 16. Argentina finished first in Group C and beat Australia 2-1 in the round of 16 for their game. Really, two teams that have every possibility of I think, going through. Gio, what separates Argentina and Netherlands, in your opinion?
What separates Argentina and Netherlands is Argentina's fraudulent defense, and I think it's going to show extra. It's going to show extra this game because, hot take or whatever, I think Netherlands are going to take this one.
Ooh,
and
okay.
That's where I'm putting my money. Max looking at me. I thought we don't do
betting. I thought we don't do betting, Gio.
Oh no, I bet coffees.
Coffees.
Yeah, coffees. Not money. Coffees that I make at home. So really, not just there's no money being lost. So no, I think this is as good of a chance. Everybody says it's a great draw for Argentina, but I think it's just as good as a draw for the Netherlands. I think again their defense has been quite sound this entire tournament, although they haven't. They weren't in the toughest of groups. I think they go in with a very sound game plan for each game, and they've progressively gotten better and executed better as each game went on. So even going from the US game where we thought the game plan was to sort of boss the midfield and really control the tempo of the game, they let the game come to them and they attacked at their pace, and they got their goals. So I think because I still don't trust that Argentinian back line, I think the front three, especially Cody Gakpo, when he's driving forward, making the Argentinian defense backpedal. I favor that. I favor that matchup against Gakpo against the Argentinian defense over Messi versus Van Dijk and say Nathan Ake. So yeah, no, I will go with I favor the net. I definitely favor the Dutch here.
Ooh, honestly, yeah, you throw up that there. Netherlands with Van Dijk and Messi with Argentina. Great matchup coming up. So, Mac, what do you think about this possible matchup?
I think it's a little bit more even than Gio's proposing here. I see this as a kind of an interesting matchup of which play style is going to come out. I think an interesting matchup for me to look at and might decide the game would be if Di Maria comes back and plays on that right wing and is facing Daley Blind. If he's able to give him a rough day, that pulls Ake out of position, and at that point, it's a 2-on-1 between Van Dijk with Julian Alvarez and Messi coming in for a late run. And I think that's rough days. So if Di Maria, I feel like, has a really, really strong game, I think that Argentina should score a couple of goals. And for me, it will be whoever scores first, I think will have such a more likely odds of winning this game, more so than regularly. Because, of course, if you score first, you generally should win the game or you would be a favorite. But I think more so than others. Because what this will do is if Argentina bag one in early, Netherlands have to start to come out and try to look to get on the attack. That further makes it easy for Argentina, and vice versa. Netherlands, we know, are going to win this game. And you know what? How can we kind of win this game? Exact same way on the US, but against better opposition. On the counter, let's see if we can create opportunities, overload with our wide backs, and kind of create chaos on the break. And if they score first, Argentina are going to further have to press, which is going to further put Netherlands in a stronger position. So I think between all these matchups, there's a clear line of who scores first is really going to decide the game, in my opinion. To go with this, if you were to ask for predictions, I know you're going to. I'm going to be biased here. I'll take Argentina probably 2-1. I think Argentina scores 2 quick goals. Netherlands come back, get a last goal, try to make a game of it.
Let's bet.
I have no interest in betting. I don't bet. I don't bet. It's not good.
Hey,
okay.
We can talk about this off air. We don't condone betting, but honestly, yeah, like you said, Mac, definitely interesting to see who gets the first goal and at what time. Because if it's 0-0, I really see the Argentina team just dominating possession, as they've done against Australia and as they've done against Poland and even Mexico and Saudi Arabia. You can say they have the quality to keep possession, and Netherlands, like Gio said, are more than comfortable sitting back. Other than Cody Gakpo, I would argue that Netherlands squad doesn't really have like a standout star. You could say Van Dijk as well. Could be a world-class player there, but they don't really have anyone like the Robins and the Schneiders and Van Persies of the days gone that really stands out as a threat up there. Cody Gakpo definitely the only one I can think of. Maybe Memphis Depay, but on Argentina's side, yeah, you have Messi. He's though aging, and really everyone around him is just trying to support and feed him and try to let him create something. So it's going to be a very interesting game. And yeah, like you said, Mac, I think that first goal will definitely determine it and really have a big shift in the game. Just wanted to read out here that the Netherlands have 8 goals for and 2 against so far, and Argentina have 6 goals for and 3 goals against. So, Gio, on that back line, talk about Argentina. Do you think it'll be a back 2, a back 3 to match up Netherlands? Who would you start at that back line for Argentina?
Me? You're asking me this? Honestly, I don't think they'll go with the back 3. I think they're comfortable. They will comfortable the way they are. I think I think Argentina trusts their defense more than people kind of think about it. Like more than people kind of question whether they're good enough. Yeah, no, they're a very confident team in that sense. But I think they probably think the Netherlands might switch up to match them. But I think me personally, I think they stick with Romero and Otamendi, which I hope they stick with, just because I don't think they're the strongest against pace, and Molina and Acuna, which I think the Netherlands would kind of want that.
Yeah,
no switch.
I think so.
I think Dumfries will have a great day against Acuna, who's an aging 31-year-old. I think Dumfries, for strength, for pace, does beat him. So yeah, no, I don't think they'll switch. I think they're quite comfortable where they are. They haven't switched too much this tournament either. So yeah, no, I think they stick with that starting lineup they started with Australia.
And then the flip side, Mac, in terms of midfield, Rodrigo De Paul, Enzo Fernandez, and McAllister, I think, are shoo-in to start in that midfield. And they will be coming up against, obviously, Frankie de Jong, as well as Martin de Roon, David Klaassen. Who do you think will win this midfield matchup? And does that have any effect on this game, do you think?
I think this is clear line where Argentina are going to win this midfield because I think it'll be interesting to see Klaassen. He was tasked with the man mark job against Adams in the previous game against the Americans. Is he going to do the same thing towards Messi? I doubt it because it's probably a little bit too deep for him to be able to kind of apply a pressure. But you're talking about that midfield theory, correct? But let's be real here. Messi's the one going to be dictating the midfield. He's going to be dropping and picking up the ball. And I don't think Netherlands in the midfield have the pressure, have kind of the identity to be able to kind of stop them from doing that. The interesting part, as Gio highlighted, will be on transition. And that's actually where I don't think it'll be Acuna versus Dumfries. I actually think it more so will be like a McAllister, a Fernandez. Those players are going to have to be able to manage them because those wide backs, especially if on the left-hand side, are going to go so far up. It would be the midfield's jobs to more match up against them. So I think that will be more of a deciding factor because they, in all their previous games, as soon as Argentina have lost the ball, it's the midfield three that have applied the pressure to get back possession, not really the wide back. So I think that more so will be interesting. As well as I think, and this might be a hot take, I think Van Dijk might be anonymous more so in this game because there is not going to be a naturalized striker like Olivier Giroud, Benzema in his position. He's going to be on the free man in space. I think more so when they have the ball, that's probably where you show more of his stuff. But offensively, they're just going to work around him. As long as they can drag either Timber or Ake out wide, he's going to be kind of redundant in my opinion. He's a phenomenal player, world-class player, arguably the best center back the last 5-6 years. But I think what they'll do is we're just going to stay away from him and do our work everywhere else because they're not a team really going to cross the ball in where you want to have more of a Van Dijk or they're not looking necessarily to take him one-on-one. They want to build possession around him, get a shot from just inside the 18, and hopefully at that point, Van Dijk is a little bit more distanced away. So I think Argentina do have a clear way to create offense, and it starts with their midfield, like I said, winning back possession, and then cycling it and kind of have it hubbing around that top of the 18 away from Van Dijk.
That's a great point in terms of like the midfield winning back the ball for Argentina, really being that workhorse to press and just be what supplies Messi with chances and possession. But yeah, no, I think though likely they will start a traditional left back like Gio mentioned, Acuna. And yeah, it just makes it so much interesting because obviously you have players playing in positions but not necessarily doing the roles that you'd expect them to, especially in this stage. And so, Mac, you already gave us your game prediction. Gio, I think it's only fair that we get your game result prediction for this as well.
A 2-1 Netherlands.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Well, obviously, we'll be reviewing this game in our next podcast. So let's take another quick break here, guys, and then we'll be back with some more quarterfinal preview. So stay with us.